How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to NRL Fantasy Analysis. We've got here for a big video here. We're going to be going through the last 5 games of the round after doing the first 3 in that last video. And we've got the Bunnies and the Warriors here with a big one from Damien Cook after a lot of people getting really frustrated with his scoring. He comes out with 101 against the Warriors. Obviously, they absolutely smashed him. And he was involved in 3 try assists there. And basically the perfect game with no negatives in there, with a couple of turnover tackles as well. So this is the things that Cook can do. He had a bunch of games last year where he hit the 90 plus sort of 100 mark there, and he can do that at the drop of a hat if he really wanted to. If he's actually going to run the ball, a lot of good things usually happen for him. So here we are with that one, and he's someone that you're going to want in your team. Like, for people that were thinking about trading him out, I think that was a very silly idea. Before this game, he was averaging 56, 57, which is still top 15, top 20 kind of player in this league. So in terms of that, I'd be really happy to keep Cook in my side. Jaden Sewer with a couple of tries, Colin Matungi with one, Tommy Burgess also. So these guys aren't too relevant. You got Latrell, who got a fair bit more involved in this game. Good to see him back playing well, averaging over 51 in the wing fullback position at 5 for 53 is really, really nice. And I suggest anyone that needs a third or fourth wing fullback that he would be a really good option for your team. But got really involved and did a good job. Cam Murray with a lesser game time this week for 61 with his try and a couple of line breaks. So he's just an awesome player, and he needs to be in the majority of people's sides if you're needing a replacement for certain players. We lose Johnson this week, so there's a bunch of guys that we'd have currently. It's like, I wouldn't trade them out, but if one of them happened to get injured, then Cam Murray could be a decent option for your side there. Joshy Curran, 51 tackles for his time in the park with the try save 59. So that's awesome if you own him. But he had a few light ones before this, and as to why he only gained 4K this week. So I wouldn't be picking him up at any stage coming up over the next few weeks. Martinez Lesniak, decent. Good to see Nikorima have a decent game again. Bailey Sirinen again, no one really fantasy relevant. So we get to Reynolds and Walker, 50 and 46. Yeah, not too much to say with them. That's slightly below the top halves, and especially when you can see guys like Jerome Hughes and DCE absolutely kill it this week with Cleary back in the next few weeks. Moving along to the centers and Gagai in there with 43. So a solid game, 2 tries. There's no tries for himself, but I suppose you can't hope for too much more apart from him getting another bunch of tries. But again, they scored a lot of tries through the middle this week instead of through the edges. But you're happy with his efforts if you own him. A lot of the good centers this week got in the 40s apart from my boy Joey Manu, but. That's that there. Moving along, Fanua Blake and Matty Lodge. These were the 2 this week that everyone was expecting them to do well. They have had an absolute ball the last few weeks. And you can see this week they had 54 minutes and 49 minutes there between for each of them. And it just makes sense, right? They've had 2 out of the last 3 games have been 70-minute plus, especially for Fanua Blake. And you saw obviously 2 really good scores. And this one just a little bit lower. Not too much running, obviously with them not having the ball as much. So you can expect better games from them over the next few weeks. But if you picked them up for this week, that's a little bit annoying. You go to Reece Walsh and just really didn't get much chance to run the ball, or decided not to. Only 47 run meters with the try still. But take the 32 is not the worst. Obviously he's been averaging very, very well. So I'd put him, he's averaging the exact same as what Latrell is. So I'd have them as interchangeable. Most people have Walsh already. So I wouldn't be moving him on to bring in Latrell, or moving him on to bring in anyone. I still think he's a really strong keeper, and they're not going to come up against the Bunnies every week anyway. That's about all, guys. Tane Milne, for anyone who brought him in as a cheapie, sort of, starting to, we've definitely peaked now with the 12, but you don't have to rush to get him out, but you could use his cash if you want to. 180k to bring in a cash out would be completely fine in that one. Moving along to Manly Tigers. This is obviously a massive game. Thankfully, I didn't put the curse on Tommy Trbojevic. He still went well, but so obviously a massive game for DCE there with 119. It was, just incredible. 2 tries, 2 try assists, 27 tackles for 1 miss, 7 tackle breaks, 200 meters, and 168 kick meters. He was special, and he gains 49k to get up to 928. So, he needs to be in majority of people's sides. Averaging 69, there's not many people averaging that high at all. I think he comes in at number 3 or 4 overall. Cleary, who's not playing for feeder. DCE, Hughes, they're all up there. So they're the guys we need in our squad. Trbojevic is the 70s as well. But Harper, good to see him get some tries. Actually cashed in a little bit. He's been, I don't know, just it seems to be Sabi scoring on the right and Brad Parker or Garrick on the left. So good to see Harper get involved. Tommy Trbojevic with 83 in this game was awesome. 327 run meters is incredible, and obviously a couple of line breaks. You're going to get plenty of tackle breaks and tries, etc. from that. So he was special. Everyone should have him by this stage. Adam Dewey, 38k gain this week, another 72. So I suppose this is exactly what happened before he got moved to the centres, and this is why it gives me the shits every time I look at it. That he's in back in the sixth role, absolutely killing it. So if you decide to pick him up this last week, then he did really well, and he's obviously going to be kicking the goals. Just puts on a few tries usually, and has the ability to score himself and stuff the stat sheet. So at 603k, you get him at a bit of a discount. I expect him to be averaging this 53 that he's currently averaging for the season, which obviously includes his games at centre too. Luke Brooks, if you still own him, yeah, you can continue to. I just think he's, apart from this 64, he hasn't been that great the last bunch of weeks, and there's better halves options. So if you have a few trades in the bank, I think you can upgrade him. Similar with someone like Lucy Leilua, I just was actually pretty low for the first part of the game, and they got 3 turnover tackles and increased his score, but he's just a little bit below the pack. So at 567k, I think you can use him as a downgrade or upgrade option for sure. Olakuatu with 47 was solid, but as we've spoken about, he's not that keeper level talent. And I think, he's gained that 30k now. I think the next week or two could be the one that you decide to trade him out, whether that's upgrade or downgrade. At 590k, I think that's completely worth doing. Marty Tapau, if you own him, my thoughts are that you should probably upgrade him or use him as a cash out. I think it's probably time. You don't want to be, you're not really going to be wanting to play him for the rest of the season. If he's like a 45 to 50 average kind of guy, you're looking for guys at 55 plus if you're in the top sort of 1,000 there. If you're outside of that, then maybe you can continue to use him and are running out of trades. But he's someone who's not going to be one of the top line keepers, unfortunately. Joshy Schuster had a line break try assist, a solid game, 100 meters, 23 tackles. Obviously, 3 errors there and 2 missed tackles hurt him a little bit. But I still think he's someone you can hold over the next week or two. He's 611k, so you got a fair bit of money there to actually downgrade him if you want. Someone you can get close to 400k in the bank, or you can go up to an 800, 900k player if you've got 200 or 300 there. So I think he's over the next few weeks, so you can use him as a cover for your half position and your edge, or you could look to trade him out if you have a fair few remaining, which I know a lot of people don't, unfortunately. Dane Laurie, we spoke about him. He's definitely ready to be traded out, even after his couple of decent games. Jason Saab with 12. Kepi, unfortunately, off the bench. If you own him, you got to get rid of him pronto because you're going to lose too much cash. That's about it. Offengawi, remember he was the man at the start of the season. How good. Sliding along, we're going to go to the Panthers up against, who they play again? Broncos. Yeah, it's actually a lot closer. It's actually crazy to see how important Cleary is to this side because they just, yes, they've gone on a little bit of a lull, but it's obviously only ever happened since he's been out. So, such a special talent, and you can see that with Payne Haas as well, with 106 in his 72 minutes. So, well done, Payne. Majority of us own him. He's still under 20% owned, which is interesting. I doubt that will continue after this week. But for any of us that bought him under 700k, you've got him at a nice discount there, and some amazing scores over the last few weeks for sure. So 106 for him, just did everything. 14 tackle breaks, a line break, incredible, and such big minutes too. Fisher Harris. So the story is, I think his wife about to give birth, and he's going to go on 2 weeks leave, which he's going to have to leave the bubble for the birth and then come back in. So he'll miss the next 2 games. Is the thought? I'm not sure if that's continuing, but that's when that's the reason people have been talking about him is like, oh, do I trade him out and stuff like that? So I think just once he doesn't play, then you can move him on because he's probably slightly under the top level keepers at this stage. Jordan Ricky also doing really well, but not one we want to talk about. Tyson Gamble actually getting 6 tackle breaks and 84 meters to go along with his good tackling and kick meters. So he's been incredible for anyone who owns him. He's just going to keep making money. He's averaging way over 50 in the last 5. So if he continues that, then he'll be very quickly up to closer to 700k. So if you own him, I think you can continue actually playing him because against the Panthers, I thought he'd probably have a little bit of a down game, but just doing a bit of everything is exactly what you need as a half in this game. If you can tackle really solidly and actually run the ball, the kicking obviously comes as a part of that. You're just going to get the tackle breaks and the opportunities to score tries and also set up. So Gamble, I think you definitely hold him. There's other guys like Schuster and stuff. I'd probably almost move on before him just because Gamble's got the momentum at the moment with the price rising and scoring really well, so you can play him at the moment. We move along to To'o. Again, a great option, scoring tries. Cleary's going to come back shortly. They're going to be better. So I think this is almost a great time to pick him up at a slightly cheaper price than he was earlier in the year for sure. What else we going for? Crichton 51 was solid. Stags 48. So he's just going to continue to be that type of player. Really solid in defense, getting a bunch of tackle breaks. 8 tackle breaks in 63 meters gained is actually really, really solid. So he's a cool option for you in the centers, but there's a lot of other really good ones as well, who most of us have already. So I don't think many people are looking for a center at this point. If you're looking down the line, Kurt Capewell was solid. Luai, he's there. Did obviously run the team fairly well, but yeah, it's way more kick meters than what you're seeing from Matty Burton, which is interesting this week. And the up and down nature of his scoring has been really, really annoying. And the question becomes now, do we continue holding him, or do we look to move him on? It's hard. If he's in your centers and 1 week he gets 60 and the next week he gets 20 odd, that's very indicative of what a center would do. So it's like, well, do you bother wasting that trade? And I only think you do if you've got sort of 7, 8 plus coming into these last 6 rounds. And if you have 5 or less, I just think you have to hold him, because as the Panthers get better, he'll get more opportunities to score tries as well. Even moving back to the centers, that's what I'd be looking at. And the only other issue here is Isaiah Yeo going down injured and only playing 9 minutes. So I think it was a concussion neck issue. I haven't read too much further on that, but yeah, he becomes fairly cheap over the next few weeks. He's lost 200k, was averaging really well before this. So if he could be a sneaky little pickup in that mid 500s over the next few weeks if he comes back, with a really high break even. But you've got guys like Radley and stuff you can pick up instead of Isaiah if you wanted to there. All right, moving on to the last 2 games there. We've got the Dragons and the Titans. And what an incredible game it was for Mr. David Fifita. Coming off the bench, coming in the 23rd minute, 24th minute, and only a few minutes into it, just decided to run himself, carry 3 blokes over the line, palm, and go over in the corner. And that was a good start. And I was like, okay, I felt a bit better now having captained him when he got moved to the bench in the hour before kickoff. So yeah, amazing work for Fifita. Just shows why he's such a dominant force. If the Titans, literally every time they get a quick play the ball, should just get it straight out to Fifita. If he gets 1-on-2, like if he has 2 defenders, he can usually carry them over the line. If he gets 1-on-1, it's just completely game over. So yeah, the more they can do that, they seem to, I don't know, like Sexton, had a great game, but there was like 2 or 3 times there where they had momentum and they tried to get it out wide to the center and wing, and I was like, you literally, and the pass ended up going out. It was like Fafita's screaming for the ball, like, bro, give it to me. I'm like, if we can go 3-on-3 and I'm the one with the ball, it's game over. It was weird that he was trying to do the long ball out to the other guys when Fafita was right next to him. Anyway, could have scored way more than he even did, and he also had a try which he probably should have scored that he got held up and stripped over the line. So incredible game. Everyone needs to have him, even if he's playing less minutes. If he's got this game in him, he's averaging 73. He's the second highest average in the game, so needed by everyone. Jared Wallace again having an awesome game. Sexton will hopefully be out, and Foggs will be back for anyone who owns him, like myself. Benny Hunt, welcome back. Got to try and a line break, but just a solid game all around. Back to running the ball, kick meters. So yeah, you can expect scores in the 50s for him going forward. And they did get smashed, remember. So if they play a bit better, then he'll score even better. Also, Fagai actually did really well with 62, but again, not many people would have him. AJ 57, fine. Tino 57. There's not too much in here, guys. That's really, really fantasy relevant. Apart from Jackie Bird, I really like him as a scorer for fantasy in the second row. Probably a slightly better center for sure, but I suppose they need him in that position right now, or he likes playing there, or however it's working. That's the decision they're making. But he obviously gets more tackles, runs the ball about just as much. So I think he gets better. I think he scores better in fantasy. So if you can keep him there, then that's awesome. But he's been doing really well for everyone's team. If you own him, Greg Marzut, if you still own him, he got a nice bump in price there. DeBellin, if you picked him up, he's scoring okay, but just not the top, keeper level status. Fod Wake with a lower scoring game, obviously with only the 40 minutes, which was interesting. So, with him being pretty much their best forward apart from Wallace, I feel like he should be getting big minutes there. And, Fafita's off the bench too. It's not like they're playing everyone huge minutes. So, interesting one there. And if he gets 60 minutes, he's going to be close to that point a minute player. He'll be great. But I just think you probably can't pick him up now if that's going to happen if he gets the 40 minutes here and there. All right, Dufty with 35 and he's 80. McCulloch 33 in 55 minutes. He obviously went off. I think at the moment before it was like the amount of good hookers in the game, there weren't many. And now that you've got Reed playing really well, you've got Benny Hunt, Cook's there scoring well still, even though it's up and down. The average is great. McCulloch's really fallen off a little bit. He was averaging close to 60 for the first part, and he's had a bunch of games where he's had less minutes. Obviously, a lesser one this time. Obviously, this one wasn't getting hooked by any chance. It's just unfortunately, just played less minutes for injury. But what I'm getting at is I think it's probably time to look to trade him out. He has lost a fair bit of cash, unfortunately. Moving along, we've got the Peach. I think it's time. Got to move him on. He's just not playing enough minutes, just not playing the position he used to. Their style of play has changed a little bit, and I think it's time to move him on. It's not really much else to say. Just got the decent minutes last week, but it looks like that was a fluke with obviously the injuries that they had. Him coming out and covering some positions. So unfortunately, I think he's a trade out. Same with Kelly if you own him. Other than that, that's about all from this one. And last one, guys, will be the Doggies and the Sharks. Bit of an interesting game, this one. Dogs goal line defense wasn't incredible on the wings, especially, and the Sharks kind of took over there, and we lose Johnson. So bit of a sad one, sad finish. If you own Luke Thompson, you're really happy. Obviously, got the sin bin, came back on and gave away another penalty, and it was like, oh, his discipline's terrible. But then he's able to score a try, 200 meters, 10 tackle breaks, 32 tackles, like amazing. Try assist as well. Just did it all. Got 88. He was awesome. Sione Katoa with 81 was a really, really good game for him. Obviously a bit too expensive to pick up. Britton Nakora is probably their best on ground, I'd say, for sure. Toby Rudolph with a try and a nice celebration. Talakai's there doing his thing. Much better this game. Actually ran the ball well with a bit more vigor. You can see there he was down at 304k. So for someone that was 216? Yeah, 550k at the at the end of last year, I should say. It's good to see him get back to a little bit of that form. Lockie Lewis is starting to score a bit better. He's been a little bit up and down and just had a pretty solid game all around and didn't throw anyone to the ground this time, which is a big win for him. Joshy Jackson, 9 minutes early mark this time, but 59 points was awesome, and you can continue to play him confidently in the mid or the edge position. And moving along, I think Braden Trindle, I actually think he's a pretty good player. Hey, does kick good goals, obviously, but I think he's a solid number 6 in this game, and I think he should, deserves his spot for sure. Not fantasy relevant, obviously, but he might be with Johnson being out. He might have to take over a fair bit more of the kicking if Johnson's out for the year or close to it. That might be when he becomes a little bit more relevant, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, kicking goals, and if you can get another couple hundred kick meters to go along with controlling the ball a bit more, and maybe the kicks resulting in more try assists, and he could be very interesting. Jesse Ramian with the 43, I think was, again, just a really solid game. He's not really going to have many games under 30, just because he runs the ball enough and bumps enough guys off or runs sideways enough to get enough tackle breaks and help out your scoring there. So he's one of the top guys, priced exact same as Jack Bird now. So either one of them, really, really good for anyone's centre pairing. Brayley with a lower one. Averillo with 40 with a sneaky try in there. Obviously 6 missed tackles hurt him a little bit and not many kick meters. So again, if you're holding him, another 47k lost, unfortunately. But it's like, do you just continue holding now? He's your half cover, your centre cover. If you have to play him, he's scoring okay enough to do that. Most people don't have enough trades to be able to get rid of these guys. So it's probably my thoughts around Averillo. It's like, it's too hard to trade him out, especially when you got Johnson to trade out 620k. It's nice. It's not a terrible price. You can pretty much go to a lot of guns that are around that 700k mark. If you're looking for a half, then I'd probably go right to the top, DCE, Hughes, or wait until Cleary. We'll find out a little bit more on Johnson, but it didn't look very good, and he was pretty upset about it, which completely makes sense. In terms of the rest of the game, not really much to talk about. Yeah, pretty low ones from Hetherington and stuff. So that's that, guys. That's the review for the week. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got a lot out of it. Let me know the types of guys you're targeting for the next few weeks and how many trades you got left. I'm really interested in that. Everyone scored amazingly this week. I think most of our team scored 1140, 1150, and lost a few ranks. So yeah, interesting how it works. Some weeks there's obviously a lot of hundreds that were scored this week, and that's going to contribute to it with some fairly popular guys. Payne Haas, Rapana, Damien Cook, Fafita, for Fitter as captain, these types of guys. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Please do like, subscribe. Best way to support me. We'll catch you in the next one when we're going to be going through the People Squad. See you, team.